Hello, my name is Catherine Hagelstein, and today I'm going to be talking about minor contractual rights. Here's an outline of what I'll be covering through this presentation. I'll be covering definitions, contractual capacity, disaffirmance, restitution, ratification, entering contracts, liabilities, necessaries, general questions, and citations.
He wasn't wearing a seatbelt. The baby was in the vehicle, but
Here's some definitions that I'll be discussing throughout the presentation. Minor. A minor, which is also called an infant, is a person who has not attained the age of legal capacity. Disaffirm is to give notice of refusal to be bound by an agreement. Restitution is restoring an injured party to its original position, and ratification is affirmation of a contract. Contractual capacity. Capacity is the legal ability to enter into a contract. People who are limited in their capacity to enter a contract would be minors, which would be under the age of 18 or in some states 21. Incompetent persons would be mentally impaired persons, and intoxicated persons, which are people who would be under the influence. Disaffirmance is if a minor wishes to no longer be obligated to a contract, they may disaffirm it. A minor may disaffirm through express or implied language. So, for example, if a minor were to purchase a vehicle and the vehicle had a major issue, the minor would be able to disaffirm the contract and get their money back because the contract is voidable since the minor lacks capacity. So, for instance, they blew a motor on this vehicle. They can take that vehicle back to the dealership, and the dealership would have to refund the money put into that vehicle. Restitution. Restitution is when you restore the injured party to its original position. In some states, minors are required to restore the other party to the same state it was initially in prior to the contract. For example, if a minor disaffirmed a contract, he must return the consideration he has received to the best of his ability. So let's say a minor purchased a vehicle and voided the contract. He would need to try his best to return the vehicle back to the dealership where they would be able to resell it or give them something equivalent so that they would basically not be at any loss for having the contract with the minor. Ratification. Ratification is the affirmation of a contract. It may be expressed in three forms: through express language, as implied from conduct, or through failure to make a timely disaffirmance. So, for example, when a minor becomes of legal majority, they may ratify a contract. By doing so, they are surrendering the power to avoid the contract and becoming legally bound to the contract. So, whenever a minor becomes of legal majority, they can go ahead and ratify it, and by doing so, they're basically accepting responsibility that they are of legal majority and they are becoming legally bound to that contract. So they're not going to be able to void the contract, which they would have been able to do in the past when they were a minor. Entering contracts. A minor may enter a contract. However, the contract may be voided at any point in time by the minor because of the lack of capacity. So when businesses allow minors to enter a contract, it is at their own peril. Typically, an adult is required to co-sign to guarantee the fulfillment of the contract. I honestly can't think of a business that doesn't require this, only because there's a lot of liability involved with allowing a minor to enter a contract with you. I know from past experience when purchasing a vehicle, I had to be able to prove myself through my credit score before I was able to acquire a certain loan. Otherwise, I would have had to have a guardian or someone of legal majority sign with me. Liabilities. Misrepresentation of age is a liability because a minor can lie about their age and still disaffirm a contract. For example, if a minor lies about their age when generating a contract, the minor will still be able to disaffirm the contract. Even if a minor swears that they have given all the information and that it is true and correct to the best of their knowledge, and they lied about their age, they're still able to go back and disaffirm that contract because of their lack of legal capacity. Tort connected with a contract can also be a liability because a tort cannot be enforced if it is tied into the contract. For example, if a minor is renting property from someone and there is a contract in place and the minor disaffirms the contract and the owner finds damages to the property owner will not be able to sue the minor because the minor has contractual immunity. Necessaries. A minor is not liable in contract for necessaries. If the liability is quasi-contractual, the liability is not for the contract price of necessaries furnished, but rather for the reasonable value of the necessities. There is no liability on executory contracts, but only for necessaries actually furnished. What are considered necessaries? Food and lodging, medical services, education, and clothing. Minors cannot disaffirm contracts for necessaries. I went ahead and made this slide, which I titled as general questions, and there are a few questions that I think would be beneficial in knowing throughout this presentation. Can a minor disaffirm a contract and recover the property if they sold it to another person who sold it to a good faith purchaser? Yes, because they are of minority. So basically, if you're going to purchase something from one of your friends and they purchased it from one of their friends, you better be sure that the person wasn't a minor. Otherwise, you could possibly lose whatever you purchased. Can a minor ratify a contract if they are still a minor? No. They're not able to ratify a contract unless they are of legal majority. So until they're age 18 or in some states 21, a contract may not be ratified by the minor. Do the same laws apply in each state? No. The laws vary depending on the state and what they implement. For instance, what is considered a minor in some states would be the age of 18, anyone under the age of 18. However, in other states, it could be anyone under the age of 21. Why are minors able to disaffirm contracts? The reason laws were put in place regarding minors and contracts is because they're trying to protect the minors from business people who try to take unfair advantage of the minors. So basically, anyone who tries to manipulate a minor into getting a contract, there's basically that loophole for the minors in case the minor didn't understand everything in regards to that contract. And this concludes my presentation. I made a slide for all the sources that I used throughout the presentation. Thank you guys for watching.